Hello everybody, this is bigglou here with another video project that was requested to me by a friend of mine. After his disappointment with Mario Kart Wii, he decided to ask me, you should do a list of what your favorite Mario Kart series is. So I decided to compile this little video of mine. It took a while for me to do since I had to record all the footage of all the Mario Kart games except for Mario Kart DS. I had trouble filming that one. But overall, it's a top 6 list of my favorite Mario Kart series, and you're either going to like it or you're going to hate it. So that's just the life of being on the internet. Room for all opinions. So hopefully you'll enjoy this top 6 list. It feels weird not saying top 10, but anyway, here's the top 6 list for my favorite Mario Kart games, and I hope you enjoy it. Oh boy, and it already starts by me putting Mario Kart Double Dash at the bottom of the list. Now, don't get me wrong, now Mario Kart Double Dash for the GameCube was a pretty good game. The the new concept of having two people on a cart was pretty much interesting, especially for the co-op modes, which I really loved about the Mario Kart Double Dash was how you can able to do co-op with your friend, how one person drives and the other person throws items and whatnot. And each character also had special items, which also made it a bit pretty much on the fun side, and the fact that Mario Kart Double Dash was more on the more tactic side, which was pretty much a good thing. But my downfall for Mario Kart Double Dash would have to be the fact that you didn't get any of the retro tracks from the previous game, and the battle stages, which I was really disappointed with, was the fact that the battle modes were just too gosh darn small. And despite the fact that the battle mode wasn't all that great, one of the key features that was supposed to be revolutionary for the GameCube was the able to have 8 players with the LAN mode, which you had to buy the Nintendo GameCube broadband adapter for. But the problem with that was the fact that aside from myself, nobody else bought it. Oh yes, Mario Kart Wii makes it at number 5. Now, when this game was introduced, Mario Kart Wii, pretty much everybody was hyped up since there was a lot of divided mixes between Double Dash and the fact that they went back to the just having one card, trying to bring back the good old era of Mario Kart. But then, when we first of all, the first meeting was when they announced how the game was going to be dumbed down to the core, not the hardcore audience, but the casual people. And the first thing that went was the also inevitable power slide, which a lot of people were divided on. Now, for me, it doesn't matter since I really can't snake too well. And even though I'll admit the new power slide scheme was a bit too easy, there was still a lot of good out of Mario Kart Wii. I mean, the fact that some of the levels to me were some of the best I've ever played. And another thing I can think of is the fact that it included a lot of retro tracks from all the previous games, so that was another big surprise. And the fact that there are a lot of hidden characters, although most of the hidden characters were pretty much not even worth talking about, so I'm just going to steer away from that. And the big feature is the online play, which was very much better from the Smash Brothers online mode. The fact that it just worked right on the fly, and you could just, well, you still had to wait to get into a game, but I really did like the online features, even though it's gonna have that oh so friendly friend code that's never gonna go bye-bye. And probably the most biggest feature that was divided aside from the power slide scheme would have to be the Wii wheel, which came included with the game. Now, me personally, I'm kind of divided on it. I mean, I don't hate the steering wheel, but it's pretty much just like, just a little quick gimmicky feature. I don't think it was too gimmicky because, as you can see here, I enjoy using the Wii wheel, but I pretty much only use it if I just want to lay back and just relax and don't even care. But if I'm gonna be playing in competition mode, then I'm pretty much going to use my key, Wiimote, and Nunchuck control scheme because that's the way I roll. And another thing I didn't like about Mario Kart Wii was the AI. I mean, I thought the rubber band AI was bad in Mario Kart 64, but it's 10 times worse in Mario Kart Wii. I mean, you would be in first place and then all of a sudden within the second lap you get hit by a spike shell, then you get hit by a red shell, then you get knocked over by a guy who has the Starman, then you get hit by Bullet Bill. And that would just pretty much, I wouldn't get frustrated, I would just be like, oh great, so I guess I'm just gonna come in last place now. And let's see, what else? Oh yes, now probably the biggest disappointment I had since the Double Dash battle mode is the fact that in Mario Kart Wii's battle mode, there is no free-for-all. It's all team-based. And I guess they figured that, team-based multiplayer is the new fad now. So let's just get rid of the one key feature that made Mario Kart so good in the first place, was doing free-for-all deathmatch in battle mode. And the balloon battles isn't even worth it anymore, since when you lose all 3 balloons, you come back with all 3 balloons. Back to the way you were, and it was pretty much all points based. So that was another big miss for me. I really miss how fun the battle mode was. I mean, the battle mode's okay, but it's just I just don't know. While we're on this subject, why not we talk about the oh so infamous unbalanced items? Now, in the previous Mario Kart games, the only item you pretty much had to worry about was the lightning bolt, but even then, the chance of you getting the lightning bolt is pretty much slim. But now you have to worry about the lightning bolt, this other tricky lightning bolt, oh, the POW block, and it just seems now they just made the items too powerful in multiplayer, especially now since pretty much racing online, it doesn't even matter how good you are, it just matters who's going to get that last item towards the end of the stretch race, which I'm pretty sure people have noticed now when you play Mario Kart Wii online, how most people are choosing the most basic track, just so you know that on the final lap it's going to come down to who gets that red shell in the end. Ah, Mario Kart, the game that started it all. Who can ever forget the first time you picked up your Super Nintendo controller and played this classic of a game? And pretty much, this game it was just as basic as it was. You just drive around, get items, and try to get first place by whatever means possible. And pretty much, it was just a relaxing game. I mean, the tracks they had were memorable, the music was pretty catchy, and it was also the birth of the also infamous Rainbow Road. We all remember Rainbow Road, don't we? You finally get all first place in all the other tracks, and you think it's the end, and then this comes up as Rainbow Road, and you're like, oh, it's a very colorful track. But wait a minute, where are the guardrails? Oh, this is gonna be hard. Of course, nowadays it's pretty easy to come by, but as a kid, Rainbow Road was pretty much the equivalent of the last level in Super Mario Brothers. It's gonna be hard, but you know if you beat this level, that's it, that's the end of the game. And that's what happens. When you finish Rainbow Road, you're done, and the only thing left to do is to bring a friend over and play some good old multiplayer. And even though it was only limited to 2 players at the time, you still had a blast with the battle mode, with the oh-so classic balloon match, the way it should have been done on Mario Kart Wii. And really, this one's going to be short and sweet, since I can't remember really anything bad about the game, only I had a few frustrating moments playing Rainbow Road and the Ghost Valley courses, but that's pretty much all I can think. Mario Kart 64. Not too long after the N64's life cycle, Mario Kart 64 came out, and this was pretty much, well, for us, a graphically upgrade from the SNES version. And pretty much my favorite moment with Mario Kart 64, as long as everybody else, was pretty much the inclusion of 4-player mode, because the fact that the N64 had 4 controller ports at the time, this was a big deal for us. I mean, now it's nothing, but back then it was like, wow, we can all do 4-player mode, and we don't have to buy a special adapter. And then you also got some new items, of course, including the beginning of the infamous blue shell. Yes, the blue shell. You're in last place, you think, sometimes I think now, what's the point of it? I mean, yeah, if you're in last place, it's like, yeah, way to nail it to the first place person, but is it really going to help you out in the end? Not really. And another thing you can bet really loved about Mario Kart 64 was also the music, because the music, just like the previous Mario Kart on the SNES, the music was very catchy, and pretty much you also had all these new characters, bigger tracks, shortcuts. Of course, that was the beginning of crazy glitchy shortcuts, and the only drawback I could think of from Mario Kart 64 was pretty much the beginning of the rubber band AI, where if you go into 150 mode, it's pretty much you're neck to neck between first and second unless you do the glitchy shortcuts. But aside from that, the 4-player battle mode was pure awesomeness. And I just recently played Mario Kart 64 on a virtual console at a friend's house, and I pretty much forgot how fun it felt to play 4 players with people in the living room instead of via headset. Mario Kart DS makes it in at number 2, and pretty much it went back to using the features of Mario Kart 64 with the control wise and the power sliding, plus you had hidden characters to unlock, and then for the first time ever you could go online mode, which was pretty much a big deal since it was like, yay, Nintendo has finally reached the online gaming era. It's about time, better late than never, huh? But then of course, as we all learned, the online mode was quickly forgotten because of people either dropping out of games or relying way too much on snaking instead of making it a fair race. And aside from those mishaps, oh, and the fact that I could never play a buddy online because the friend codes and then trying to find out when that person's going to be online, it was just too hectic. So I never got to play online with a friend, just online worldwide. But there were a lot of good that came out of Mario Kart for the DS. Was pretty much how they used the dual screen in pretty much a smart way. The top screen was your race, the bottom screen was all your track and the stats, and it kind of made it too easy to predict since you could see what items the opposing racers had, so whenever the red shell came up, you just busted out the banana peel and you know what happened. So pretty much Mario Kart DS, it had the retro tracks from all the other previous Mario games. That was fun. And aside from the whole snaking controversy, it's pretty much a good game, and I still play it to this day. So that's why I put Mario Kart DS on the number 2 spot. And for all you Mario Kart fanatics, you pretty much know by now what my number 1 favorite Mario Kart series of all time is. So you can either stop the video now, or you can just continue and see what you think of my impressions of the game. Well, here it is, my number 1 favorite Mario Kart game of all time, Mario Kart Super Circuit for the Game Boy Advance. Why do I love this game so much? Well, the game pretty much goes back to the SNES days in which you had coins that would speed up your card, and then you pretty much had to use items. The items were much more balanced. There was pretty much no frustrating moments. But I think the big thing for me about Mario Kart Super Circuit that really blew me away was the fact that it included all the tracks from the original Super Nintendo version, making it feel like you're playing 2 games in one. So pretty much that was pretty much the big landslide for me, was the fact that you got all the tracks from the SNES and then you got some brand new tracks, and pretty much to me everything about that game was perfect in my book. So that's it for my top favorite Mario Kart series of all time. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time when I try to come up with another idea for a video project. So, or if you have any ideas, just mail it to me on the YouTube account. Take it easy. Later, everybody.